Hello, lovelies of the interweb, and welcome back to Raving with Rua. It is episode 23 here of my little live stream series on my YouTube channel called Songs from the Rua Room, which is a YouTube channel dedicated to singer-songwriters from Belgium and beyond. Dahi is my name, and I'm based down here in Belgium, and it's lovely to be with you here again. If you are watching online, by all means, please, if you're watching on YouTube rather, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me get the songs out, it helps me get the songs of the great musicians out there, it helps me to build the channel. And of course, as always, the virtual tip jar is down there. Look at it's paypal.me. If there's any chance of throwing a few shekels in there, also helps the channel. You know yourself. I know a lot of singer-songwriters are out there busking online at the moment due to the crisis, but you know, we have to do it. So that's the virtual tip jar. As always, tonight's live stream brought to us by lovely people there of G-Sharp Guitars, the world's finest travel electric guitars, Norwegian invented guitars there. Check them out, gsharpguitars.com. Where is everybody watching from? If you want to jump up there in the comments, I will flash the comments up on screen if we get any. If you have any questions for me or my guest, or you just want to say hello, please do so. It would be lovely to hear from you as always. So we're going to go down to County Cork in Ireland and talk to a man that I've admired for a long time. He's over in Clonakilty, I believe. He'll correct me, I'm sure, if I'm wrong. But please welcome the mighty and the talented Eugene Brosnan. Hello there.
Hi, Dahi.
Welcome, sir. How are you keeping?
I'm keeping very well.
Considering, all things considering.
All things considered, we're doing fine here. And it is Clonakilty. That's where we're at this evening.
I'm glad.
The little beautiful village of Rossmore, just 10 minutes north of Clonakilty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I was ever in Clonakilty. I was in a few places. I was in Milltown, and I was in Connolly's years ago. Played a lovely gig down there. But I'll have to come visit you and have a cup of tea sometime.
You passed through if you went to Connolly's of Lep.
Did I?
Sure. You did, right. Yeah.
So you're affected by this Corona thing. Did you lose any gigs, or what's going on down there? Is everybody in lockdown? I suppose they are.
Yeah, it's worldwide now. Yeah, I had unfortunately my mini tour of Germany got cancelled, but I consider myself very lucky, Dahi, because I could have been over. It was just a matter of days before, like every 24 hours, every country, everything was changing.
Yeah.
So I consider myself lucky that we just made the decision prior to it. Each gig started to fall off. The more cautious. Yeah. There was a couple of bravados, but. We didn't we didn't get there. We didn't get there, and that's it. But we'll get there in November. We'll get there in the autumn sometime.
You will. Yeah, great stuff. Because that's where we met first, wasn't it? Of course, we can't converse here now without talking about the mighty Wild Rover in Aachen, where our paths crossed back in the day. Was that probably early 2000s? Do you remember?
Yeah, would have been
around that time.
I mean, I was a veteran of the Rover in Aachen by that stage. I remember driving into Aachen in 1986, autumn 86.
Was it?
Yeah, it was there in the Palmstrasse at that time. I'll always remember it. It's a funny one. I mean, how many cities do we drive into and how many cities do we drive out of? But for certain, I certainly got a feeling that I liked the place. Even driving in on the evening, I got a really good feeling, and it's ended up being very good to me, and it's ended up being one of my favorite cities in Germany. Yeah,
I think me too. Absolutely, we both of us, I think, have a long history in Aachen, and especially in the Rover, and I know. Steph and Rory are probably watching this now, and so hello if you are. It's very nice. We do have a few viewers. Look, we have a couple of live viewers already. Daniela says, "Hi Daniela, great to see you." And Anna's over there in Holland as well. Hi, nice that you joined us, folks. Anybody who wants to leave a little message or a question for Eugene or myself, or just to say hello, please put them up there on the screen, lads. My own father is there. How is it, Gus? Yes, my dad's tuned in there from Shannon Bridge and Uffley. How are you doing, Martin? Nice to see you all, folks. Nice to see
Hello,
you
Martin.
all.
I met you a long time ago. I met you, I suppose, in 2015. We can talk about that later, I
Yeah,
guess.
you did. Yeah, you would have met the dad in Ghent. But let's go back. Let's go back. You were talking about 1985 or six, because you're not from Clonakilty originally, are you? Or
No, I'm from Mill Street in North Cork, Mill Street, County Cork.
yeah.
It has its bits of notes. The Eurovision Song Contest was held in Mill Street
Oh
in
yeah. Well,
1993. If Shawnee Radley is around, he can correct me, but
he can
if I'm
vouch for
wrong,
that.
but yeah, it was 1993, I believe, yeah, and that put Mill Street on the map. It's a beautiful town. The backdrop's fantastic, beautiful mountains. I was born and raised looking at Clara Mountain. Beautiful.
Oh, you were in the scene at that stage, Eugene. What was going on at that stage for you
What was going on
in yeah,
in Mill
musically? What was
Street?
happening
In Mill
for you? I
Street,
mean,
yeah, I started playing guitar in Killarney, actually, in boarding schools a couple of years before that, St. Brendan's College. And then I met a couple of lads from Cantork and one lad from Mill Street called Jeremiah O'Keefe, who was a fantastic songwriter at the time. He was the first person I ever met that ever attempted or ever dared to write a song.
yeah.
And by the age of 20, he had a book of songs. I remember maybe 100 songs in the book, you
Wow.
know. I was blown away by that. I often say to people that it was a blessing and a curse growing up with Jeremiah at that time, because, you know, he was inspiring you to write songs because you're looking at the guy. So you're, you know, monkey see, monkey do. You want to do it. But at the same time, he was pumping out such fantastic stuff that, you know, any of my efforts at that time certainly weren't going to shake what he was doing, you know. So,
Was it,
but it
yeah.
was great to know a guy in 1983 that was actually writing songs, you know. So it definitely inspired me.
Sure, I
Yeah. So
think.
we,
Sorry to interrupt you there, but I just think I was just saying there that it was a great time from what I can remember of 1983. I was only 10 in 1983, but from that point onward, I remember an awful lot of music in Ireland. Of course, you do too. I mean, there was a huge amount of songwriters coming to the fore at that time, and say even 10 years later. I mean, we already. When did you start touring then? When did you start sort of saying, okay, I've written songs now, let's bring them out in the world? Was it later or?
well, it happened kind of the other way around. I myself and the aforementioned Jeremiah, well, I headed off to Germany and Jeremiah joined me a couple of weeks later. And just by a chance, I had 3 weeks holidays from a job in Mill Street at the time. And I just literally wandered into a bar in Frankfurt, and totally naive, you know, 20
Yeah.
years of age, whatever. I'd never really been outside of Ireland. I was at the Breton Folk Festival in Lorient the year before, but, you know, gave me a taste for travel. And I arrived in Frankfurt, and literally a guy at the bar said to me, because I was carrying my guitar and rucksack and whatever, and he said, "Can you play that thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I can." And he said, "Well, the musician has cancelled this evening." He says, "Go up there on stage and play a few songs." And I said, "Well, I couldn't play a gig." And he said, "It's okay, just go up and play. Let's take a break for about 40 minutes and go up and play the same songs
Yeah.
again, you know."
Wow.
And yeah, that was how I started. I like literally I played my songs 45 minutes, excuse me, and took the break. It was a transient crowd. It was a very popular tourist destination, Sachsenhausen in Frankfurt at that time. And he phone number of an office at Frankfurt Flughafen at the airport, and called that the next morning. I called it the next morning, or probably afternoon, and I was booked up 20 nights a month for August, September, October, November, and December until Christmas. And I came home at Christmas absolutely delighted with myself.
Yeah.
I had, by strange chance or whatever, got 3 weeks holidays from my job and never went back, and ended up on that circuit. I was about a year. Jeremiah left me about a year and a half later, and I took up with a German musician called Gert Nungesser, who actually lives in the west of Ireland now. I hope he's fine. Hello, Gert. And we started to write songs after Jeremiah left. I was writing a bit of verse and writing a bit of this and that, mainly to throw in the bin. But, I think I came back to Ireland and I completed the first song I was happy with. I was a late bloomer or a late starter. And I think around 87, 88, I had a handful of songs, and and I had a bit of a band going in Cork City at the time, and we played a couple of my songs, and sure, that spurred me on a bit when the lads in the band said, gee, we like that,
That's great. Yeah. You're working a little bit in a band now, which we'll talk about as well later on in this little chat. But I wanted to talk to you. We probably won't play these songs in any kind of chronological manner, but just some stuff that I found on the net and songs that are kind of personal favorites of mine. The first one we have is Spring Wind that I found on the net here. Just tell us a beautiful video as well. Spring Wind. Tell us a little bit about the video and the song itself.
Yeah,
it was on Solid Ground. Your album, Solid Ground.
It was. That was actually an album of covers and tributes to songwriters that had inspired me. I had 3 or 4 of my own songs on that album. Spring Wind came out very well off that album, and the guitar sound was great. I found that Christoph Herman from Wabi Sabi Records in Aachen as well, he got a great sound there, and Tobias Lehmann, who was doing animation for various film studios in Germany, he decided to make a paper art animated video, which I was totally blown away by. I just
amazing.
Thought it was a beautiful piece of art and a beautiful way to go,
It's amazing.
Thanks to Tobias. That's a shout out to Tobias there. He did a great job in it. I thought, yeah.
It's a gorgeous. Not only is the song great. Who is the songwriter?
He's an American from Iowa, very, very underrated songwriter called Greg Brown.
Okay.
Wrote that song. Yeah.
Well, let's give it a spin, folks. This is the beautiful Spring Wind here from Eugene Brosnan, one of his covers from a great album, and the video, of course, as you see there, Tobias Lehmann. Gorgeous song.
I lived a while without you, damn near half my life. I no longer see our unborn children run to you, my unwed wife. Yesterday I had a vision beneath a tree where we once talked about an old couple burning their love letters so their children won't be shocked. Love calls like the wild birds. It's another day, and a spring wind blew my list of things to do away. Friends are getting older, and I guess I must be too. Without their love and kindness, I don't know what I'd do. Oh, the wine bottle's half empty, the money is all spent. We're a cross between our parents and hippies in a tent. Love calls like the wild birds. It's another day, and the spring wind blew my list of things to do with. On a mucked up lovely river where our daddies cast a fly, I look at that river and I smell it, makes me wanna cry. Oh, clean the dirty planet, there's a noble wish, and I'm putting my shoulder to the wheel because I'd love to catch some fish. Love calls like the wild birds. It's another day, and the spring wind blew my list of things to do away. Children, go to sleep now, you know it's getting late. I know you like to miss nothing, and I know school isn't great, but I'll dance with you when you're happy, and I'll kiss you when you're sad, and I hope you know how glad I am just to be your dad. Love calls like the wild birds. It's another day, and a spring wind blew my list of things to do away. And I know it's been a hard road, and I know we'll be okay. And I know I said it shit all the time, like everything else I say. Oh, I'm on the road so often, every time I miss you and I really know nothing except I love to kiss you. Love calls like the wild birds. It's another day, and a spring wind blew my list of things to do away. A spring wind blew my list of things to do away.
Yes, what a beautiful song that is, and what an interpretation, Eugene. I've loved that song since the moment I heard you doing it.
Thanks, Tommy.
Linda Cullen is over in the Black Forest, has her eye on both of us. How are you doing, Darren? It's great to see
Hello,
you.
Linda.
Thanks for tuning in. Lovely, lovely to see you. Linda did a great chat on this. Check out Linda's Raving with Rua stream as well later on, lads. Gorgeous artwork and beautiful song, she says. It sure is. Mary O'Callaghan, great song. Thanks, Mary, for tuning in. Lovely to see you. It's
Hey, Mary.
always great to have people tuned in here. That's Eugene's website, folks, eugenebrosnan.com. You have a Facebook page, of course, as well, which people can check out. It's there, folks, on the screen. If you want to give his page a like, follow him along. You know, sharing is caring in this game. Absolutely. Thanks very much to you all for tuning in. And again, from Belgium, hi. Lovely to see you here. So look, take me up to the year 2000. I read that you moved to Dublin at that stage. There was a lot of stuff going on for you. Were you in America prior to that, or did you do some gigs?
It
Go
was
straight to Dublin first.
America for me was something like I think about every 18 months I'd get to the States. You know,
Yeah.
it's a long way, and mainly just the East Coast, Boston, New York, and I'd get all the ways down to Florida actually, and I'd do that maybe every 18 months. But America is tough going, as you probably know.
I've never toured there, but I was going to ask you what kind of gigs they were. Were they predominantly Irish pubs or any kind of clubby stuff or listening rooms or?
Well, the way I used to work it was that the Irish pubs, big ones, paid money.
Yes.
And the singer-songwriter venues didn't pay that much. Even though, having said that, some of them could do, depending on how lucky you were, and so on. But so what I did was I used to book, say, 4 nights of pubs and work hard, and then do 2 or 3 nights in singer-songwriter venues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could plan it the best way possible.
Indeed.
Boston, I was very lucky. I had great friends over there who were involved in the music business, and they used to book up some stuff for me, and I used to get the singer-songwriter stuff myself. That was mainly done through, just getting on to people basically, and, getting the gig,
Indeed.
These gigs, like you'd have 3 or 4 singer-songwriter nights, you'd have 3 or 4 songwriters on, or bands or whatever, and you'd go on and do your 15 minutes and half an hour, whatever it was, and it would just keep you going, like, I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
Very
That's what we
good
all did.
camaraderie,
Yeah,
the other
absolutely.
songwriters and stuff like that. Always inspiring to meet other songwriters.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And what was the Dublin scene like then? It was around 2000, you said you were up.
Yeah. I was in Dublin for about 18 months. Like, you know, there was an awful lot happening up there, and I just wanted to go there basically. And funnily enough, my little flat was on Raglan Road. That's where
Yes.
I had my little flat, just out there
Was it
beyond
really on Raglan Road?
the bridge.
Oh,
Yeah, it
wow,
was.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was 13 Raglan Road, two doors down from where Patrick Avna himself lived.
Fantastic.
And not that it did me any good, but right across the road from Dennis O'Brien. You know, I'm not sure if you know Dennis over there.
Tell
Do
me,
you?
who's Dennis?
Dennis,
Remind me. Who Dennis O'Brien
probably
was.
the richest man in Ireland.
I see. All right. Didn't do you any good, no.
The Irish,
That's what you
no.
meant.
Watch him drive out with his Merc and pass me down the street in the rain.
Fantastic.
So I loved Dublin, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, it was at the time it was amazing. I mean, when I left Dublin, the songwriters that I used to not hang out with so much, but well, Declan O'Rourke for sure. I used to hang out with Declan.
Yes.
But Declan and myself were doing more or less the same thing. The International Bar, Whelan's, you know, the Cobblestone, places like that. And we used to do like the 4 songwriter thing again, you know, and it could be anyone. Like Mundy, Damien Rice.
Well,
You know,
they
who
were
went
all at it. Well,
he went on to huge fame and fortune, hopefully fortune as well. He deserves it.
yeah.
You know, so all that gang were hanging around there at the time, and hundreds of other songwriters. I mean, it was quite amazing. It was bizarre, you know, to have so many songwriters.
Yeah.
And I often likened it to the time where in Dublin alone you had so many playwrights and writers and novelists and poets as well. You know, just an amazing like greenhouse of amazing writers.
It was an amazing time, yeah. Mid-90s up to 2000. You know, I caught some of it. I mean, it was probably mid-90s because I came out here in 2000, but up to that, I was still trying to go to Dublin and you know, International Bar and songwriting places. The Bagot Inn was doing something on a Monday as well, I believe, and Glenn Hansford was there, and there were brilliant times, Eugene. There really were. And we were lucky to see them.
Absolutely. I feel lucky that I was there. Yeah,
me too. I'm looking at reading comments here and throwing them up here as I get them. Frank Gannon is there, south of France. How you doing, Frank?
He's down in Periac-de-Mer. Frank Gannon is. I know Frank very well, and Andrea.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, Frank's a great songwriter, and you know.
Is he a songwriter as well? Okay, nice. Very nice,
he is
Frank.
indeed.
And who else is here? We have Andrea.
Yeah, that's Andrea.
Yeah, and Nessa Brosnan sounds like a relation. Hi, Nessa.
Yeah,
they're chatting to each other here. They're having a great old chat. Good to see you. Linda's giving us the clap. Thanks very much. It's great to see you all, folks. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And if you've just joined us, you're watching Raving with Rua here on the YouTube channel Songs from the Rua Room. And you know, by all means, please give that old button, a subscribe button hit. It helps me push the music out there. But I want to talk to you about a couple of the songs, of course. That's what we're here for. I think around 2000 as well, you had an album out, and there's a song called "Share the Blame." Am I right or wrong in saying that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, "Share the Blame."
Was that 2000?
Yeah. That's right. That's correct.
And tell us a little bit about that song or album. Or where
"Share the Blame." Yeah, it's a long time ago, but actually, that I made my first album. If I can go back to '95, I'll go back to '95 to roll into that one.
Yeah.
I made my first album in '95 down here in Clonakilty, and I did that with a more or less a band or other musicians, and we made it actually in Roy Harper's recording studio down here, which I can look out west here, and I'm actually living right across the field from him right now.
Oh, wow.
But so we did that album in '95. It was called Well He Said He'd Be Here, I had a fantastic bunch of musicians on that. Second album I made, I decided to go it alone. I was intrigued by all the equipment. I had a big learning curve. I bought this digital equipment and mixing desks and mics and stuff. And I made the album myself basically and brought in a session musician every now and again. Best approach, the other approach is better if you have the wherewithal to do it, I think, to rehearse a band and get them into a studio and catch that moment, the spark of the moment and so on. But Frames of Mind was more or less made in various houses that I was staying in Clonakilty at the time, in Ardfield in Clonakilty. And I put it out myself, my own label, it had a bit of a feel to it. It was all my own stuff, and Share of the Blame was the song that kind of, got me some gigs or got me a little bit of airplay off that,
And again, was it a completely acoustic album? Was it just whatever was on it you put on it? Is that what you mean by going it alone, or?
Well, going it alone, I produced it myself.
Yeah.
I did all the direction myself. I engineered it myself. I put up the mics myself. I learned. That was a big learning curve. I did all that. If I invited a musician in, I mic'd that musician up. It was done layer by layer rather than everybody playing together. It was a kind of a laborious approach, to be honest with you. And I think the longer an album takes, or the longer you start doing it, starts to lose a bit of the spark,
Yeah.
But having said that, it's a studio production, and I was happy? I think I was at the time. Would I do things differently now? Yes, but it's 20 years later.
I know. I just had a learning curve, learning process. But it's a great song. Let's have a listen to it, Eugene. Share of the Blame. Yeah. Let's give it a lash. Give it a lash.
Water washed away the secret. Screaming drowned out the sound. I heard a whisper in the darkness calling. I turned my eyes down to the ground. Was it for my own protection that you kept me in the shade? When I turned to ask the question, when I knew you'd just evade and say I strayed, left me to clean this mess you made. Though you've held my hand through danger, all the way you've made me feel almost like a complete stranger. Still it's me that had to kneel. And were you there to stop the bleeding? When I score my fix of fear, you can't believe my mind's still breathing, tearing down all you hold dear. I'll take my share of the blame. Okay, I'll take my share of the blame. 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 I'll take my share of the blame.
What a song! Great song. Well done.
Oh,
I
great,
love the way,
thanks.
I love the way
Yeah,
it builds up. It builds up really, really beautifully there.
that's actually Bill Shanley, the great Bill Shanley
is
on
it?
the
Is it?
guitar. Yeah, who
What
is
a
now
man.
playing with the great Ray Davies from the Kinks.
He sure
He's-
is. He sure is.
he
Right,
is,
yes.
yeah.
And has played with everybody else. Of course, what a guitarist.
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
guitarist he is. He's just absolutely top notch. And he's
He's-
and
yeah,
he's a Clonakilty man, is he?
He is indeed. He's Shanley's bar in Clonakilty.
I
Yeah.
see.
So
How are you, Bill, if you're watching?
the first the first time I saw Bill, like, you know, he was just a kid, really. You know, he's a bit younger than me, like, you know, was astonishing guitar player, you know, always was, you know.
He is an
Grew up on the
astonishing guitar
knees of great musicians, you know, and picked it
player.
all up.
Yeah,
And innate talent as well. His dad was an amazing boogie woogie piano player. You know,
Was
his
he?
dad, Mossy Shanley, was. Yeah, absolutely. Played many times with him. Yeah, back in the day.
yeah,
Fantastic.
It was, kind of a very typical in Ireland. We're all kind of influenced. And did you have family members who played, or how did you get into it as a kid? Like, I mean, were you influenced by just general bands in general, or what, did you have family members who kind of kickstarted you?
My mother was a singer. My mother sang all the time, and when she was young, she did the usual. There wasn't much to do in Mill Street. You know, there wasn't much happening with regards to music, but she was known in the locality in North Cork as a singer, religious singer. You know, like for church and choir and all that. But also when certain bands came in those days, back in the 50s, the 40s, late 40s and the 50s, you know, women didn't tend to travel with bands in those days like they did later on in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
So, and various bands, the show bands would be traveling around Ireland, and my mother would be invited on the stage as a female singer, you know, and sing one or two songs with them. You know, just had her party pieces and that. And because that's how they used to do it, apparently, they might, you know, where you're from, Offaly or wherever, you know, there might have been
Same
a
kind of
lady,
thing.
bird, and so, you know, and she'd be at the dance with her boyfriend or whatever, fiance, husband, whatever, and they'd have a little break, and then they'd invite that lady up on stage to sing a couple of songs. And sure, those musicians were fantastic. They could, but yeah, my mother would have sung in the local ballrooms at that time. Yeah, for sure. So she brought singing was always in the house, not instruments, but singing. There was a piano, but I certainly didn't go near the piano till later in life. But there was no instruments until I was a bold boy in school, and they decided that the place for me would be boarding school. And ironically,
You were shipped off.
I was shipped off to Killarney and St. Brendan's College, And I'll never forget the first day I saw and heard an acoustic guitar. I was just blown away. I'll never forget the man. He's a guard. He might be retired now, I don't know. A guard in Killarney called George Scott. And I just saw him practicing, and I walked towards him and freaked him out a bit, you know. I just walked up right in front of the guitar, and just I just felt it, you know. I just felt the power. He asked me, was I okay? I said I was. And he said, did I want to play? I said I did. He gave me a couple of lessons. I still hadn't learned the big lessons in life, because I used to get a few bob off my father. And I used to buzz with the few bob and pretend that I was giving it to George Scott for the guitar lessons, which meant that I really had to learn myself.
Or the jig was up.
Couldn't be much good. Yeah, couldn't be much good coming home saying, yeah, George is teaching me and I'm giving him the fiver or whatever it was. And I can't play anything. So I just had to learn myself, you know. But I got on grand there, you know. I was put into the, again, churches again. I played in the cathedral in Killarney and all that, you know. But, you know, I remember the rivers of Babylon. Yeah, that's what we were playing.
Yeah, that's what we were playing indeed. Yeah, we had that, and we had the Mull of Kintyre and stuff like that. That was one of my staples.
Oh, Mull of Kintyre, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mull of Kintyre was
Big
the
song.
first song I recorded, you know, because you had your A, D, and E or whatever. You know? Yeah.
So good. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Tell me, I like talking to you. Is the next song I have lined up here. Tell us a little bit about I Like Talking to You.
Oh, yeah, I like talking to you. That's a heavier kind of piece of material. That one. Well, yeah, it is. It's you know, I wrote it after seeing that States of Fear documentary. I don't know if you came across them over in Belgium, but they were unearthing all the horrible stuff that happened in Ireland at the time. And I just, when my parents were young, and, you know, I'm not a big believer, but like they were, people were, I'm sure your parents were, your aunts, your uncles, and everyone around you at the time in the 60s and the 70s and prior to that, you know, the devotion they had to our Lord and Our Lady and everything. And, you know, that's all fine, but, you know, they're taken by these reporting and representing God, so to speak. Yeah. And they were being basically abused. I don't want to get into it too much, but, you know, they were basically, you know, it was harrowing for me to see all that and hear that stuff. And, you know, it just seemed to me that so much was taken from them, from these people. Yeah. And then to suffer so much because of the God that they loved and the God that they were given. And it just struck me, you know, how can they relate to that God? Or is that God taken from them as well? You know, that was, I never met anyone that was really abused in that situation, or I never had the chance to ask them, and or do I want to? But, so I just, that just came to me a couple of days or weeks or whatever after seeing and thinking about that States of Fear documentary. And it just, the song just kind of says, well, you know, I still like talking to whoever it is in there, you know, whoever we think God is, or that's basically what the song is all about, that I like talking to you. Yeah.
And so, it's from Blue Monday.
Yes, Blue Monday. That's another album that that was a limited edition album recorded in Frankfurt, and it was limited to 200 copies for one specific tour and the launch of a recording studio in Frankfurt at the time. So yeah, that's Blue Monday.
That's Blue Monday. Well, let's have a listen to the song. As I always said, it's a bit of a harrowing story, but you know, you have to write those songs as well, right?
I believe so.
I Like Talking to You from Eugene Brosnan.
I like talking to you because you understand my struggle. And some days it's all in the muddle, not near. And I like talking to you when with these thoughts I am lumbered, and it seems like my days are numbered, and I'm stuck in gear, and the seeds have all been scattered. It's the way you said it mattered. All in tatters of the men of cloth who shattered all the dreams. But I like talking to you, and I know I sometimes grumble. I curse and I swear and I mumble. That's out of fear.
My friend Herbie down there, he says he put the word wow on that video, and rightly so. Great song, really. Catherine says, fabulous as usual, Eugene. Catherine Hartigan, thanks for joining us.
My old friend from Mill Street.
Yes. It's great to see people, from the past and present coming in there. Beta,
Totally.
Primper, Beta, thanks for joining us. Beata, sorry for mispronouncing your name there. Lovely yes. to see you all here, tuned in as usual. But look, the last time we were talking in the flesh, I think, was in 2015. We were in Ghent. You had just moved back to where you are now. Is that right?
Clonakilty, yeah.
Clonakilty, yeah. You had just moved back. Yeah. Was it in 2015?
Yeah. That's I moved back to Clonakilty in 2015.
Yes.
So
you've been kind of off the touring scene for a couple of years up to that point, had you?
Yeah. I'd been touring, as you know, for 23 years.
Indeed.
And my first daughter was born in 2005, Hannah. And by the time the second girl came along, Ava, I'd been on the road doing various tours. And I just remember coming home after one 6-week tour and driving through Wales on the way home, shattered. And the thought struck me that, I didn't miss 6 weeks out of their life. I missed 12 weeks, 3 months, because, they move at so completely different ways, children at that age, so we came home and we discussed it, around 2007, 2008.
Yeah. And
we decided that I could try becoming a house husband and stay at home with the kids. My wife, Nessa, is a teacher, so much more reliable job. And So I stayed at home with the kids, and I kind of stopped playing live music altogether, because what actually happened to me was I planned on doing some local gigs, but they'd be singer-songwriter stuff was so thin on the ground that it could be weeks or months before, you get called up to do a gig in Galway or Dublin or wherever. And basically, because you wouldn't be gig fit, like the fingers wouldn't be,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be as confident as you would be on a roll if you were rolling in every night, like.
Uh-huh.
And basically, the whole into one gig, if you know what I mean, because you'd bring out the guitar, you'd be preparing, you'd drive your mom mad at home, and and it was very stressful just for one gig. So I decided to knock it all nearly all live performance on the head, unless it was a special thing where family or friends wanted me to do something.
Yeah.
But I
Indeed.
definitely stopped the touring, stopped the live gigs. But it stood to me. The kids were at home. They loved the sound of the guitar or the piano, took up a bit of piano. And I got into the studio in the evenings and started to learn way more about studio production and stuff like that,
It's probably the hardest part, is it, of course, being on the road as a family man. I mean, it's all right for lads like myself who relatively single or don't have the ties, but I think as a family man being on the road must be quite difficult at times.
It is, yeah. I mean, it is. I think for anybody, I don't care how rich or how famous you are. Well, like, of course, if you're very, very rich, you can have the private jet home every night. But but no, it's a very unforgiving business. Music. You're out there on the road every night, and people think, oh God, it's great. He's staying in hotels and staying here and there. You get fed up with it fairly fast.
It's
You
certainly not.
know what the road is like.
It's certainly not hotels anyway. It's okay. If you're lucky, it's a hotel, but it's also and it can be. It's good and bad to it. You can be in somebody's home, and then after a couple of days there, you feel like you're getting under their feet as well, and so it's not always. It's not always, it's not as glamorous as people think. You could be in a different bed every night, and you could be in a hotel one night. You could be in a spare room the other. You could be in a storage room.
You could be anywhere.
Yeah,
You could
really
genuinely. You could.
Genuinely
It's
could.
not easy. It's not easy.
Beata sorry to interrupt you again. Beata was asking if interesting talk. She said, "Have we ever played together?" Probably just. Have we ever jammed
We
together?
did.
We're going to talk about that as well now.
Bit of a jam together. Yeah, we did.
We met at the IMRO,
twice.
The IMRO seminar that
Oh,
we did.
yeah.
Wasn't that in 2000 where I first?
Yeah.
Was it I don't know. I knew you from the road, of course.
Yeah.
We met there, and I met Philip Donnelly for the first time.
Yeah, the lads in Aachen had told me about you, and they were mad into your sets and your songs and your playing. So they had mentioned me to you. So I think I made myself known to you in Maynooth. We did
Maynooth, yeah, and we wrote songs not together but with other people. Yeah, we did. Lovely comment there from Paula K. O'Brien. So delighted you made the decision to move back to Clonakilty, Eugene. Love hearing you play. We're lucky to have you. That's lovely.
Thank you, Paula.
Lovely of you to say, Paula. And he's a national treasure at this stage. Never mind us in Clonakilty. But fair play to you, Paula, for saying that.
Paula did a sitting room session for the Barrows Folk Club last week, and it was absolutely stunning. So just want to say that, Paula, seeing that we can't get around to the odd hug and the odd bit of playing. So great to see you there, Paula.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. But I want to, talking about, I don't want to talk about me too much. It's about you. But you did a very nice thing for me back in 2015 when I was bringing out this anniversary album. People who don't know, I celebrated 25 years on the road, and I just got this wild idea to ask musician friends that I'd known for a long time and some that I just met if they'd consider recording a song of mine, or and it blew into this mad crazy double album called The Harvest. So 30 songs recorded by 30 bands from like 8 or 9 countries, and of course Eugene was one of the artists on that, and there was a song a poem that I got from my grandfather, and it called From Monkey to Man. But I put a bit of music to, so I can't really claim the lyrics. I can't claim the lyrics at all. But musically, it just worked, and I started singing the song in the late '80s, and I sent it to Eugene to see would he cover the song, and Eugene said, "What did Eugene say?"
Hey.
He said,
Oh,
"Yes."
he said yes.
You liked it. You liked that song.
Yeah, I can relate. I relate to that song. Yeah, very much. I think I don't know how many artists you had on the album, the double album.
30 in total. Yeah.
So yeah, 20, 30 songs, 25, 30 songs, and you could have picked any song for me, I guess, but you picked that one, and I thought it was very well chosen. Many people along the road have said that to me, that it was a well chosen song for me, like that it was really my cup of tea, you know. I love it.
It was, but I had it in the back of my head, you know, some of the songs I just kind of, I gave 4 or 5 to people and said, you know, pick one that you think might suit you. But that particular song, I think had your name written all over it. And this is why I said, okay, I'd love to give this to you and see what you can make of it. But, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Dahi, but I'm just after thinking of something. Like, didn't we actually write a song together?
You know what? I think we started. I think we did. We had the bones of something now that you remember.
No, we wrote a song. It was so good that I can't remember it.
it was about mermaids and
mermaids and stuff like that.
The peak and the trough. I remember was one of the lines.
The peak and the trough, maybe,
but
that line?
Yeah, it was something about
maybe
that.
You were trying to forget about that, were you?
No, not at all. You just reminded me.
I enjoyed that.
So many songs, but that was a great experience.
It's getting back to Beata's question. Did we play together? We certainly did, because we had to have sat down and played a lot of chords to try and figure out what we were doing with that song.
Yeah,
a couple of fights, a couple of arguments later in the song.
Yeah, a few black eyes, and there was. I have this standing joke in Belgium when I promote the album, and again, that reminded me of it here is that I have an album called the Harvest, blah blah blah. 30 of my songs recorded by 30 artists from 9 countries, and I always say, you know, if you like the songs but don't like the singer, that's the album for you. So that's what I say about the Harvest. Thank you for reminding me of that, and again there. But I'm going to play it for you. Let's give it a blast. I love Eugene's version of this, folks. Very proud that Eugene recorded it. My grandfather's old poem that he used to recite called From Monkey to Man. I hope you enjoy it.
Three monkeys sat on a coconut tree, hanging around, if you know what I mean. Said one of them monkeys, now listen you two, there are certain rumors that just can't be true. That man had descended from our noble race, now the very idea, it's a total disgrace. Brothers, there are some things monkeys won't do. Listen a while and I'll tell you it's true. A monkey would never go beating his wife, starving the children or ruining their lives. And whoever heard of the mother monkey just leaving her children alone and in need? Would a monkey for gain or pure selfish greed? Would he build a tall fence round the coconut trees? Sit and watch as the fruits of the gods go to waste, not giving his brothers one single taste? Well, if I built a fence, it would be plain to see starvation would soon see you stealing from me. friends that a monkey won't do. He won't go out at night and get in a stew, or use a gun or a bomb or a knife to take another poor monkey's life. Yeah, man had descended that confounded curse, but brothers, he didn't descend from us. Yeah, man had descended that confounded curse, but brothers, he didn't descend from us.
Yeah. I love your version of that, Eugene. I really do.
Thank you very much, Dahi.
Such a great song. You did it real justice, and I love that flute playing on it as well. Who is that?
That's a guy, a good friend of mine called Jack Doherty. Lives down near Mallow, County Cork. Multi-instrumentalist. I'd say he plays about 20 instruments, I'll be honest with you.
Amazing.
Yeah, fantastic musician, fantastic songwriter. Originally from New York, but settled in outside Mallow, near Mallow. I got to know him and we played a lot of music together, and he obliged.
It was great.
With
it really works in there, and your own harmony voice as well there behind it. Was it filmed in the same place as as you made the other video in? Was it Wabi Sabi?
Yeah, Wabi Sabi. Yeah, Wabi Sabi music down in Aachen, near Cologne there.
Okay, nice.
Christoph Herman, do you know Christoph?
Oh, we were talking. Yes, we were. I spoke to Christoph via email, but we never met in person. Martin Kingston was just saying it's a beautiful song there. My own father loved it. Nessa is saying shout out to those watching but can't comment. Great to you with Dahi and Eugene this evening. Thanks, Nessa. She's probably watching in the kitchen there. It's great to see you all tuned in, folks. This is Raving with Rua here, my little live stream on Songs from the Rua Room. But that was a great version, and so delighted that you could be part of that album. It meant a lot to me that you were on it.
Well, it kind of got me, that whole experience kind of got me back into the music. I came down here, and I was actually thinking about Martin Kingston a while ago, because when I came down here in 2015, as I say, I was on more or less a sabbatical and was playing music at home, etc., recording, writing songs, trying to write songs, and so on. And Martin Kingston, the guy that checked in with you there just a second ago after your dad.
Martin is there. Yeah. Hey, Martin.
Martin's there. Martin was one of the first people I called when I was on my way back down to Clon. I said I'd give him a warning. I was on my way back.
Forewarned is forearmed, yeah.
Absolutely. So we were chatting away on the phone, and he said, go on away there. So he says, and when you come down here, we'll have a Warren Zevon tribute band. You know, Warren Zevon, the great American songwriter. And, you know, I was down a couple of months, and me and Martin chatted, and he said, do you know Stephen Houston, the great Australian guitarist who played with the Little River Band and many other people as well? And he said, give Stephen a call, you know, he might be interested in playing with us. So I called Stephen, and I always preface anything I have to say about Warren Zevon by saying, hey, you mightn't have heard of this bloke, you know? So I said to Stephen, we're starting a band, but you probably never heard of this bloke, Warren Zevon. And Stephen says back, he says, I played in his band.
No way.
Absolutely. absolutely. So I kind of said, "Well, you're in."
Yeah. You got the job.
Anyway,
You're hired.
you got the
Fantastic.
job. He got the job, and then we got Jerry Feely from the Hot House Flowers
Whoa.
on interested on the drums, and coincidentally, he had been asked to play with Warren Zevon, but he turned it down.
Incredible.
There was a strange thing happened with the Flowers, and something happens. You know, the Irish band.
Yeah.
Something happens. Went on tour with Warren Zevon in the United States,
Okay.
and so Jerry was asked to go on that tour, but he declined. He had other stuff on or whatever.
Yeah,
But that was another coincidence that Jerry had been asked to play with Warren, and Stephen had toured with Warren in his touring band. So we set up a band called Eugene Brosnan and the Innocent Bystanders.
Yeah, great. I've got a track lined up from Warren Zevon, I think, from that, do I? Yeah, Lawyers, Guns and Money, indeed.
Lawyers, Guns and Money. Martin's there.
What a song. Yeah.
If you have you the video, no?
I do, yeah. I'm going to play that before we go, yeah.
All right. Well, Martin's the bass player. Martin's the bass player that checked in there.
So Martin is in this band. Well, Martin, we're going to play that song in a second. But first of all, look who's in as well. Christoph heard us talking about him. And he jumped in, greetings from Cologne, where Wabi Sabi resides now. So, hi, Christoph.
Hi, Chris.
We have to both go over to Cologne some night and go over to Christoph, because I believe he's got amazing guitars in his collection.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That was one of them there. He might be able to tell us more about it if he's listening there. That black shiny guitar.
It looked like a Gibson of some sort, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe
it was a Gibson. It was a Gibson
guitar. Yeah. What was that guitar, Christoph? Let us know a little bit about that guitar that was in that last video, Christoph, if you could. I'd love to know. But yeah, tell us about the bystanders anyway. Is this something you do all the time now in Cork, or just part-time?
No, it's part-time. Everybody in the band, like Jerry Feely lives in Wicklow. So he has family in Cork, and we kind of arrange it with the Barras in Clonakilty, or various venues around the place. We'd arrange it 2 or 3 months in advance. The rest of us rehearse, and Jerry just plays. He knows the stuff like the back of his hand. He's a drummer. He gets in there. And we so I think we play about 12 gigs a year, that kind of thing. That's all we want to do. Because it's a 5-piece band now. We get a keyboards player in the last couple of years, Ed Kadaszewski, a guy from Philadelphia who resides here in Clonakilty as well. And we're obviously very lucky down here to have so many fantastic musicians playing around the place. And so, we have that band, and we play at Clonakilty International Guitar Festival every year. That's the highlight of the year for us down here.
Wow.
And the bystanders get together, and we just love it, We love Warren Zevon. We all love him in one way or another, So.
And I mean the band, it's not really a tribute to him. It's just you play a lot of Zevon songs, or is it a mix, or is it solely Zevon?
It's not like one of those ABBA or Pink Floyd tribute bands where we dress up as Warren Zevon. I have the glasses, all right, but no, and I stand out front playing the guitar, and we have another keyboards player, So no, we actually, I'd say 80% of the stuff, 70% is Warren Zevon songs. We do a few mine. We do a few Stephen Houston songs, and I think we do a Beatles song at the end, just for fun.
So but class players, all of you just class players, and you've all done your time in the scene, and it's lovely to watch you work. This is a great video. You're all kind of cramped into a little studio making the video, and it's beautiful. That's
Stephen's studio in Artfield.
Looks gorgeous.
So that's if I can say before you play it, if I have a second there.
Absolutely.
So you've got Jerry Feely on the drums. You've got Ed Kadaszewski on the keyboards, and you've got Stephen Houston on the electric guitar, myself on the electric guitar and singing, and Martin Kingston, who used to run a fantastic venue in Clonakilty many years ago called the Kilty Stone. He's on the bass guitar.
He's on the bass. What a lineup.
Yeah.
Amazing, folks.
Yeah.
Let's have a look, see if I can share this here. This is Lawyers, Guns and Money, Warren Zevon's song, of course. Eugene Brosnan and the Innocent Bystanders, folks. Enjoy this. I know you will.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I went on with the waitress, the way I always do. How was I to know that she was with the Russians too? I was gambling in Havana. Yeah, I took a little risk. Send lawyers, guns, and money. Come on, get me out of this. I am the innocent bystander that somehow I got stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I'm down on my luck. I'm down on my luck. I said I'm down on my luck. Oh yeah, I'm down on my luck. Now I'm hiding in Honduras. I am a desperate man. Send lawyers, guns, and money, because the shit has hit the fan. Hey! I am the innocent bystander, but somehow I got stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I'm down on my luck. I said I'm down on my luck. Oh yeah, I'm down on my luck. Oh yeah, I'm down on my luck. Send lawyers, guns, and money. Yeah. Send lawyers, guns, and money. I am the innocent bystander, but somehow I got stuck between a rock and a hard place, and now I'm down on my luck. Oh yeah, I'm down on my luck. I said I'm down on my luck. Oh yeah, I'm down on my luck.
Big God, what a sound. That's amazing. What a band. Yeah, it
Yeah.
must be some buzz playing with a sound like that behind you.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean,
I
it's
don't know if anyone
fantastic.
caught the I don't know if anyone caught the opening end of that song, lads. Worms even classic line. I went home with a waitress, like I always do. How was I to know she was with the Russians too? In
Ah,
case you missed that opening line of that song, wow, yeah,
yeah. What a
amazing.
songwriter. What a
What a
songwriter.
songwriter. Warren's even. Nobody like him. Yeah, Paula loves it so much. Absolutely. Oh, there was a great comment there I wanted to put up. Oh yeah, Christoph. By the way, that guitar was a Gibson L00. Thank you, Christoph, for letting us know.
He might tell us how old it was.
Oh, yeah,
It's pretty
was it kind of
pretty
antique?
vintage. Yeah, it's a
Was
vintage
it?
guitar. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah,
Beautiful thing. Neve says she's looking forward to seeing you again post virus, Bros. Neve mentioned thanks for tuning in. Lovely
yeah.
to see you.
Sister-in-law.
Sister-in-law. Brilliant.
Yeah,
But look, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight, Mister,
oh,
and to
yeah.
catch up with you and to have the natter.
It's
Your
after
website is there,
flying.
folks. EugeneBrosnan.com for all of his gigs and music. If you're watching on the Facebook, give his page a like, please. There you go. Yeah, I just, I hope you're going to be fine and stay safe and well over there. And yeah, hopefully we will see each other post virus. 1938. That Gibson.
1938. I knew it
Kidding
was
me,
old.
Christoph. Oh my God. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, you knew it was old, but I had no idea it was the vintage.
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
God. That's it. Wow, what a beautiful guitar. But look, thank you very much for your time and your energy and your great music. I've always loved what you do, and the very best of luck with everything else you're doing. I suppose you'll have some gigs and stuff coming up in the not too distant future around Cork and again, hopefully out in Europe, yeah?
when we all get out of this mess we're in at the moment, I think we'll all be playing loads and loads of gigs, and hopefully people will come and see us play and go to see other musicians play. I'm sure they will be starved for music. I am starved for seeing live music. If I can get a bit of a plug in for the Barras here
Please do.
in they're doing live streaming almost every night. If you check it out, it's get on to Barra's Facebook page, and you'll be sent to the sitting room from your sitting room to their sitting room.
Yeah, saw a couple that are
So,
great.
yeah, it's very good. It's very good. Paula K. O'Brien did one there last week. I did one myself. I was delighted. So,
And you can obviously they stream from the Barra's Facebook page. Is that right?
yeah, that's
Yep,
right. You
that's what I
can
get.
you can get tuned in from DeBarra's
Great.
Folk Club Facebook page. Thank you very much,
Fantastic.
Dahi.
Look, it was great. It was the hour flew. I will. This will all be edited up, and all my little gremlins will be taken out of it and chopped up into something decent. That's the plan, and it'll be reshareable. Then we have lots of fans everywhere. We have lots of live viewers tonight. So thank you all for tuning in. Eugene, take good care of yourself, and we'll see each other down the road.
You too, Dahi. I'm looking forward to jamming with you again.
Yeah, Slán go fólamh.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. There you go, folks. The amazing and lovely and wonderful Eugene Brosnan from Clonakilty. You have to check his music out. I'm a big fan. He's a great voice, great songwriter, and I have a great honour of writing at least one song with him, I believe, long time ago. And you can catch him on my Harvest album as well, singing that Monkey to Man song. Thank you all very much for joining. This was episode 23. We'll be back again soon with another chat with another great songwriter somewhere in the world. As always, please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps boost the viewership, helps me get the songs of those great songwriters out there. And you can follow along on social media and all that, therruaroom.com. And thank you all again. I'll see you very soon on the next Raving with Rua. Mind yourselves.